Also known as Wednesday 13. Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
Welcome to the video. Welcome to Brutal Planet Magazine.
You're listening to Brutal Planet.
Hey, what's up, everybody? CJ Pierce here from Toronto Pool, and you listen to Brutal Planet Media right here. Get yourself.
Hey, I'm Steve from Within the Ruins, and this is Brutal Planet.
Greetings, Brutal Planet. We are live today with Mr. Mitch Micoley. Is that how you say it? Micoley?
You are correct. Yeah.
Of Moon Fever. How you doing today, man?
Good. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time.
You got it.
So let's talk about the band. You guys are, from what I can tell, somewhat new to the scene.
Definitely.
So tell me kind of how you came together and kind of like your origin story.
Well, so I started Moon Fever in LA, actually North Hollywood, a couple years ago. Went through a number of different band members to kind of get to where we are now. And basically that's kind of where it started. And we got some shows. I ended up doing some like private party thing in Seattle. And I just fell in love with the city, and I was like, I'm going to move here. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll find dudes. Like, I'll make it work. And I got hooked up with Dave and Troy from Hire the Hero, and we instantly just clicked. I was like, man, these guys are amazing musicians. Like, the new material we wrote was really clicking. Started holding some auditions for a singer. Had one guy from Texas that we were actually like, we thought was going to be our guy. And then Tristan came in, our current singer, and literally in 5 seconds, we're like, this is the guy, like done, instant magic. And started. So then we just literally, I think we had like a rehearsal, flew to LA, started tracking for a week, did like 4 local shows, and then opened for Godsmack. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, pretty wild, man. Yeah, we hit the ground running for sure.
That's quite a trajectory.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, the music's good, man. I listened to that song, "Feels So Good," and it's catchy. It's like it's heavy. It's got a hook that I remember. I always, when I hear stuff like that, if I'm singing it a little while later in my head, I'm like, oh, that's a great song.
Cool. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that.
So, what are you guys' plan? There's only a couple songs up. Are you working on a full length or an EP or?
Yeah, so we do have a full length done, kind of just sitting in the can. But the next real thing we're doing is we're putting out Forever Sleep, which I think is probably the best song we have, on March 15th. And we're like really, really excited about it. I'm very proud of it. It's going to be cool. Then this summer we got some Wimmer festivals, which is awesome. And I'm sure we'll be on the road. You know, we basically live on the road anyway, you know?
Yeah. That's what you got to do these days if you're a band to make money.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, no, you got to sell them t-shirts, baby.
So did you guys tour with Steel Panther?
We did. We actually just got off with them like 2 weeks ago, I think so. Yeah. This dude's
What was that?
cool.
What was that like? Do you have any crazy stories or anything?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, the first of all, the dudes are some of the nicest dudes I've ever met in music. Like their whole team and their tour manager and their crew, just some of the best dudes I've ever met in music. And the shows were unbelievable, just slammed packed shows, big rock. And but if you look on our Instagram, we did this thing called the Wheel of Misfortune, which is this new game we're playing. So we have this wheel, and it just has the most horrible things you can basically think of. You know, we could think of while we're on the road. You spin the wheel, and we did one where Troy had to wear just like clown makeup for an entire day. It's hysterical. Like, it is the funniest thing. Check it out. You'll love it. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Those guys are so brilliant. I was just their lyrical content and the stuff that they come up with. It's like South Park meets metal. It's
yeah. And I gotta say, like, incredible musicians too.
Oh yeah.
Like man, those guys rip.
I went to this like last year. I went to this Dio. It was like a Dio benefit thing,
Nice.
and Michael Starr was there, and I was like, I wanted to fanboy so bad. I wanted to be like, bro, I love you guys so much, but I just kind of like, I was like, no, I'm not gonna like be that guy. So I kind of was just like hanging out, and I was watching from a distance. And first of all, his date was like the best looking girl in the room.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
And I'm just like kind of watching from the back. She gets up to go to the bathroom, and this like crowd of chicks comes over. It's just, I was just like, what a pimp! Like he definitely lives that character.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, yeah, he's great. Yeah, he was cool. Like when we went out with them after the first show we did with them, we were all like, okay, we got to step our performance game up so hard. Like to open for them it's challenging, dude. It is very challenging. Yeah, like you got to give it 1,000%. You know.
Those guys too, man. They were like a working ass band because they were a cover band for so long on the Strip. They were constantly playing. So I mean, I can only imagine how many hours of live performance they have under their belt.
Yeah. Also, what's cool too is like when they'd sound check, they would, I mean, just like name one 80s song. It was just like instant. Like it was wild. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were metal school for so long. They played mostly covers. So man, and that anyway, enough about Steel Panther. What would you say are some of your personal influences as a guitar player? Like what are some of the bands or players that inspired you to pick up a guitar?
Well, to pick up, I mean, honestly, to actually start playing music, I remember when the moment I decided I'm doing this for the rest of my life was I was in high school, like I was 16 maybe, and my friend gave me a burned CD of Exile on Main Street, and I heard the opening riff to Rocks Off, and I was like, done. This is all I want to do for the rest of my life. But so like I don't even say musically I'm like influenced by the Rolling Stones, but that is definitely one of the first bands where I was like, wow, I want to do this. But currently there's this band called Himalayas that I'm very, very into. They're an English band that's pretty sick. Himalayans, yeah.
What kind of music is it?
It's like a rock band, yeah. It's kind of like the guy kind of sounds a little bit like Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys, but it's like way heavier. It's
okay. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, they are very, very good. Yeah.
So, what's the plan? What's your plan for like the rest of this year? You guys are just gonna be out on the road. Is the album? Does it have a scheduled date, or are you just kind of like inching up towards it with singles?
We're gonna inch up towards with singles. I'm sure we're gonna be like really pushing Forever Sleep. I mean, I think we're pressing vinyl right now. It's funny. It's like, I'm just the musician, so like I don't get to know any of this stuff until like the management tells us what we're doing, But I mean, I would definitely expect at some point in time this year to have a full length from us out.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, is there, when you guys write, do you guys get into a room together, or do you guys kind of trade files? Because a lot of people I've noticed these days are very internet based with their kind of song construction and writing. So I'm curious how you guys handle that process.
Yeah, it's different every time, really. I've always thought like songwriting is definitely just like kind of catching lightning in a bottle. Like there's no kind of, it's like it's however it happens, So some days I'll write a riff and I'll like just kind of like demo it out really quickly on Pro Tools. Like it sounds like absolute garbage, but like then maybe I'll send it to or go to Dave's house out in the Gig Harbor where he lives, and like we'll kind of work it out together. We just was last Thursday, I think. We just wrote a new song that was really sick, and it was just like this random riff that I had from a sound check from Steel Panther. It just got in the room and just kind of hashed it out, which is my favorite way of doing it. It's like, feels like you're, like doing the real band thing, rather than like kind of making it so clinical, with like demoing, like all that. It's like, it comes to the studio. And the thing is like, when you think about it, like all these songs are going to change so much by the time it actually hits, the studio. So it's like, I've always kind of felt like it's not, you got to stay kind of loose and like not get too attached to like things, Like
Sure.
Dave was like, was like, oh, you can just play the same riff over and over again. I'm like, no, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, actually, that was what's right for the song. Fine, you know what I mean? So it always kind of changes, you know.
Gotcha. This might be this is like kind of a touchy subject, maybe like a little political, but
Let's go.
I'm curious. Do you guys use backing tracks, and what do you think about that
Hey,
world?
I'll tell you right now, yes, but not a lot. Basically, we put in things. Okay, like if I had the budget, we would have an auxiliary player doing synths, doing subs and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
you know, it's just a whole nother mouth to feed. And I think the difference, I mean, we're not running vocals or anything like that. We're not running guitars. You know, it's very basically like, I think they should enhance and not be relied upon. If you judge me, whatever, but I'm just saying, if your playback rig goes out and you can't perform the show, like, I don't know, man. Like, we
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
I don't care. Let them go out. I don't give a shit. You know?
Right. You're
Just
still
rock,
playing
baby.
live.
Yeah.
I like that term too. That's exactly the word I was going to use, enhanced.
Exactly.
And the way that you set that up too, it's like it as a touring band, when you're like, especially just starting, I mean, people don't understand what a hustle that is and how difficult it is.
It is, yeah, it sure is. But with that being said, I would not do anything else for the rest of my life. It's the funnest, hardest, most brutal, amazing thing ever. It's great and horrible, but mostly
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys what do you foresee in the future? Like how far do you think, like ideally where would you like to be with this band in a year, 2 years, 5 years?
I mean, again, it's a hustle. I mean, as long as well, I would hopefully work together. That would be a good start. I'd like us to be together. That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be a great place to be. Hopefully we're, you know, headlining, you know, doing our own show, you know, like I like to bring in more like performance elements if we could, you know, like I want to do, you know, a lot of things, but you know, we're not quite to that level quite yet, but we're creeping our way, baby.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the music is good, and like I said, I think that it's catchy and it's well written. So, I mean, sky's the limit, right?
All right, let's go, baby. We're in.
All right, man. Well, I have some. That's pretty much. I don't have a ton of questions for you, but I do have some clips. Like we usually do these kind of clip shows. So if you want to hang out and kind of like go over some of these clips for a few minutes, you can.
Dude, I'm telling, bro. Let's go.
If you got to cut out, that's cool too. I understand, but so just to set this up a little bit, we talk a lot about like, you know, the OG metal bands, Slayer, Metallica, Pantera, what have you. And I found this little interview clip where they're talking about Cliff Burton being a redneck, kind of.
I'm in.
I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So we can pause it, add commentary, all this stuff, but I wanted to play it on stream. So
have you ever crossed paths with Jim Martin from Faith No More?
Yeah.
So,
and I had no idea about this either. Apparently, Cliff was really good friends with Jim Martin of Faith No More.
Also very wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim.
So
Martin
check this out.
And Puffy from
Mike Borden,
Mike Borden, who obviously went on to Ozzy and Sabbath.
Right.
So the three of them were kind of best friends growing up in down in Castro Valley, Hayward, which is kind of the one part of the East Bay. People used to kind of joke it's a little more kind of like redneck and stuff. It's, you know, obviously in a very progressive area. Hayward and Castro Valley had a little bit of a rep as kind of more that kind of stuff, right? And so they had, you know, if you've ever been around Jim Martin, they all had the same kind of personalities. They were always kind of very contrary. They were almost in character. They were often fiercely independent, fiercely kind of just their own kind of thing, and like to sort of push buttons and be a little sort of, I don't know if shocking is, but like contrary, and just kind of say things that were like a little out of line and so on. And there was a guy, you know, Jim's brother, Lou Martin, who was a dear friend for many years. I don't
Gets a
see
little
him
bit
that much
better, I
now, but
promise.
you know, they were all.
I'm in.
They had a place a couple hours north of San Francisco where they would all go like a cabin where Cliff's ashes are scattered now, where they would go
Cliff's
like
ashes
shoot
are
guns
scattered
and go
up there.
duck
Oh, wow.
hunting and all this
That's
type of stuff. And
wild.
we've all done, been part of that whole thing. So Cliff was he was into a lot of different musical. I mean, he was into everything from which has been talked about, like the Lynyrd Skynyrd's, the ZZ Tops, to
R.E.M..
more REM. Like Simon and Garfunkel. He was into all kinds of classical stuff. He was, he was still in college when we met him, and he was, and not saying good or bad or whatever. He was also probably the one that, I think in those years he missed home more than any of the rest.
When you're on the road, you
Yeah,
mean?
he would always, like,
True.
for instance, when we were in Denmark recording Lightning and Puppets, he went home when he wasn't doing his bass parts because he was kind of more of a homebody.
Gotcha.
Especially Hetfield and I were much more kind of independent and much more adaptable to sort of, Cliff was a little, I remember the first, few months we were in Europe, like, what do you mean there's no Mexican food? Like, you couldn't like understand, what do you mean you can't get breakfast, 24, it was like he was very sort of used to certain sort of Americanisms, whatever, and had a hard.
So here's a question for you. When you guys are out on tour, is there anything that you kind of miss from your home base?
Yeah, should I be a good guy and say my girlfriend? No, I mean, you do miss some of the comforts, of course, of home, and you just, really, I would say more than anything is making yourself food, is like cooking your own like dinner. Usually when I get off the road and I make something to eat, I'm just like blown away by it. You're just like, oh my God, like real food. That is a big thing. And sleeping in your own bed's pretty nice too, but it's weird. Like, I really find like when you're in the zone of like touring and on the road, it's just like you're so immersed in it that it's just like it becomes second nature. It's like that becomes just as much home. At a Motel 6 is a home to me just as much as my apartment is in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
But yeah.
Food. On the food note too, it's crazy how, I mean, I've just come to this realization how terrible our food system is. So like I like cooking at home is like my routine because I want to know what I'm eating.
Same. Yeah. Another fun thing you can also check out on our Instagram is we do a thing called Choker Choice Food Reviews where we review really bad food from gas stations. So if you want to see some wild stuff we've been eating on the road, have a fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's some wild ones, dude, like ham salad sandwiches from like Nebraska, and like question like meat units from like Montana, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's amazing.
Yep.
All right, let's watch a little bit more of this. Here we go.
Times.
Oh wait. What am I doing? I'm wrecking shit.
Sort of.
Here we go.
You wanted breakfast, whatever you wanted breakfast. Sure. He wanted his Mexican food every day. He wanted beer and Mexican food. He was like very kind of. He wasn't sort of okay. Let's just.
Yeah, no,
let's
yeah.
Let's
He was very American.
Yeah, it was very. Let's make it up as we go along. He was a little more like, okay, fuck it. I'm done with my bass parts. I'm going back to Castro Valley to get some Mexican food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he was a little bit more sort of traditional in his sort of worldview or whatever. But I'd say when I think of him, I just think mostly of how totally unique he was. I've never met anybody that was remotely like him, and he was fiercely protective of his own sort of individuality, often to the point of, you could argue, off to the point of sort of like overkill. You know what I mean? Or it just became sort of like, don't fuck with me. It's like, okay, yeah, check this out, check that out. It's like, and that was just Cliff. And that was, like I say, a little bit of that kind of redneck thing that, and I don't want to make too much of that part of it. There was a little bit more, obviously, San Francisco at that time was still incredibly progressive and incredibly sort of worldly. And there were pockets around Northern California that were still very sort of traditional and a little more kind of rural, And so Cliff was very, he came from that pocket and he was fiercely protective of that.
Are you a Metallica fan at all?
Yeah, definitely, man. Hey, also, I get it, man. Hippies suck.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you kind of see that with James Hetfield a little bit too. He's got a little bit more of that like salt of the earth type of style to him,
For
where
sure.
you can tell he's like a hunter and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like being in music in general, it's a natural thing, I think, to be more like that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, we're playing. It feels like, it's like working class music for working class people. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
really what it is. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're not playing to like some like bourgeois in France. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like this is rock and roll, baby. You know?
Yeah, I talked to this band a couple weeks ago. They were younger guys, and the singer had said something I thought was so beautiful. He goes, we feel like rock has lost its sloppiness and vulgarity.
Yeah, I
And
feel that. Yeah,
yeah, and I
yeah,
love that because it's
yeah.
like, yeah, it's as much as there's a lot of great like electronic infused metal and stuff that I love, but
Mhm.
I feel like the general like output of like rock and metal has become very like, I use like the term grid based. It's like it's very processed, I guess.
Sure. I get you.
And so I appreciate, that element of sloppiness and kind of randomness.
Me too. Yeah, I mean, you can count on me probably missing some notes on a solo, so you'll love it.
Yeah, and that's not to take away from precision. I mean, obviously,
I
like,
know. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of the hallmarks of metal is like the shred aspect and the
Oh yeah.
like
You gotta be able to rip, dude. Yeah.
virtuoso and stuff. But
hmm
yeah, it's I don't want to take away from anyone because there's music is music, and if it's good, it's good. It doesn't really matter.
Correct. I agree with that statement. Definitely.
But I like that direction. I like the direction things are headed.
Yeah, me too, dude. Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah, another dude who I think has kind of got that thing going on is Kid Kapachi. I don't know if you know him. He's on doing some of the Wimmer stuff, but his stuff I think is awesome too, and it's definitely like raw, sloppy, like rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like
How do you spell that?
um,
Kapachi? Kid Kapachi?
Kid Kapachi. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his right now. I don't know how to spell his last name. Kapachi.
Is it like a K or a C or?
It's a K, yeah.
Okay.
He's from England, but man, I really like him a lot too. He's got that raw, vulgar kind of like oi mate vibe. It's sick.
Okay.
Yeah, big fan.
So another thing I thought of that I was going to ask you and I forgot is the name Moon Fever is a kind of a unique name. Where does that come from? Is there like a good story behind it?
There's an okay story behind it, I guess. But
Appreciate your candor.
We used to like when we were going out in LA a lot, it'd be like, oh, we're not going out tonight, dude. Let's chill, let's be good boys. And then as soon as it hits it, like the night comes out, we're all like, oh shit, I got that moon fever. We gotta go and start, going out and partying and shit. So that's kind of the hard joke about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
for me, it of course called to mind Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever is like one of the things I thought about.
Yeah. Also, I will say, man, I saw Tom Petty in the Heartbreakers at the Rose Bowl right before he died, and wow, that was truly one of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life. That was incredible.
Oh man,
it was like how tight the band was. It was like listening to the record. It was insane. It was really cool
for a stadium too. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, yeah, and that was an incredible show. Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. I was thinking about this the other day. How many musicians, like legendary musicians, we lost to fentanyl? I'm pretty sure that's what killed Tom Petty.
It's like opioids. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he got some like weird pills or something, is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
But same thing with Prince.
Yeah, brutal, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's not good. Not a fan.
No, well, let's I don't want to keep you too long, man. We've been on for a half an hour. So tell the people, where they should find you guys, what you got planned for the future.
Yeah, so Moon Fever Official for our social media, moonfever.com. You can check out where we're touring. Just type in Moon Fever, you'll find us. Forever Sleep, March 15th. Check it out.
New single. And also check out the song Feels So Good, the single that's up now. It's badass tune, catchy, hooky, heavy, got good energy.
Hell yeah.
Mitch, come back through and talk to me again when you guys have something new, like when you're ready to put the album out, when you got a tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to, man.
Would love to catch you guys too next time you're in LA.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. I'm sure we'll do a showdown at some point in time. Yeah.
Yeah, summer's coming up. So
Yeah, I'm like waiting for. I'm like waiting for the email with this like the huge list of dates of being like, here's where you're going this year. You know.
Yeah, that's got to be awesome.
It's very exciting. Yeah, I always like wait, and I'll see, like I'll get a text from our manager Don, and it'll be like he's like, check your email right now. And it's just like, and I'm like, there we go.
Do you have any idea who you might be touring with?
I do, but I can't say.
You can't say. Yeah, I understand.
I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to
not until the ink is dry.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time, and like I said, please come back and talk to me again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me on.
Take care of yourself.
Cool. Thanks, man.
All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. Big thanks to Mitch for sitting in. Check out Moon Fever, awesome band, like relatively new, on the come up, great stuff. Go listen to Feel So Good right now, and we'll be back in just a minute with some more commentary and that kind of thing. And we are back. So, a lot going on. I really hope to get Eric or Joey on with me to discuss some metal news items, but they're busy. So, it's just me. Sorry, but it's just me today.
Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me. I didn't do anything. Ow! Ow! Ow!
All right. Let's get into some news items and talk about some things that are going on right now. All right. Korn is doing a 30th anniversary show here in LA at BMO Stadium with openers Evanescence, Gojira, and Scars on Broadway. In celebration of their milestone 30th anniversary, Korn will perform a once-in-a-lifetime show at BMO Stadium in Los Angeles on October 5th, 2024. This one-night-only performance will feature special guests Evanescence, Gojira, Darren Malakian, Scars on Broadway, Spirit Box, and Vended. Some good openers there, like Korn's platforming Spirit Box, and of course, Scars on Broadway is the side project of Darren from System of a Down. Crazy to think that Korn has been around now for 30 years.
I thought it was nasty.
Moving on. So this is an interesting one, and there's a follow-up to this. As you know, if you watch our channel, we talked to Dino Cazares quite a bit. We've already talked to him twice about the newly incarnated Fear Factory. So people who follow the band know there's been like some beefs in the press between Burton and Dino, and eventually Dino went and hired a new singer who's doing a pretty awesome job, but of course he's not Burton C. Bell. So here's what Burton had to say about Fear Factory's new vocalist. Former Fear Factory singer Burton C. Bell has spoken up about the band's newly appointed singer. Last month, the industrial metal pioneers, now led by founding guitarist and lone original member Dino Cazares, finally unveiled their new frontman Milo Silvestro, who was tapped to replace Bell after the OG vocalist quit Fear Factory in 2020 to focus on his own band, Ascension of the Watchers. The split was followed by both parties, Cazares and Bell, hurling barbs at one another in the press, and since then, Bell has only chimed in occasionally with his thoughts on Fear Factory's current iteration. In a new interview with Talk To Me podcast, Bell was asked how he feels to see his old band perform the songs he co-wrote with a new vocalist behind the mic. "It doesn't affect me at all," Bell replied, as transcribed by Blabbermouth. Props to Blabbermouth. "To be honest, I haven't been this happy in a long time. More power to them, but I'm just moving forward in my own life, my own career, and I'm just trying to make a name for myself." Elsewhere in the chat, Bell was asked if he'd watched videos of Silvestro performing old Fear Factory songs. "No, I don't care to," he replied. While he seemed intent on moving forward in his career and keeping Fear Factory in the past, Bell went on to say that he doesn't mind being asked about the band he spent 30 years fronting and doesn't look back on the era with regret. "Fear Factory is what I'm known for," he explained. "And the 30 years I had with Fear Factory were some of the proudest moments of my career, and everything I've done in Fear Factory I'm very proud of. Even some of the questionable things I've done in Fear Factory I'm still proud of. It was a great legacy." So this came through the wire last week, and this was unexpected to me. So I want to just share this real quick because it's relevant. Former Fear Factory vocalist Burton C. Bell releases debut solo track Antidroid. So after that, as you can see, Burton just announced last week that he will be releasing solo music. The voice that defined futuristic anxiety, existential desperation, and steadfast resistance returns. Extreme music pioneer, multimedia talent, and iconoclastic provocateur Burton C. Bell resurrects his legacy and forward-thinking destiny remade in a career-spanning incarnation as a singular solo artist. His work continually explores themes of dystopian angst, identity, technology gone wrong, and resilience. Anti-Droid, Burton C. Bell's debut solo single, arrives with a potent message. I severed the machine that no longer served me, he screams in the moody, synth-heavy sci-fi metal missive. It's a defiant statement delivered with a confident bombast. Burton C. Bell is back on the offensive. I'm starting my solo career, Bell says enthusiastically. I'm working with different producers and co-songwriters, making music that I love with full control of the music and creative direction. So there you have it. Burton C. Bell moving on and starting a solo project. All right, now let's talk Slipknot drummer drama. So if you've been paying attention, there are rumors that former Sepultura drummer Eloy Casagrande will be Slipknot's new drummer. And the evidence for that, I think it was Estebano Siberiano, the crazy drummer guy who I saw talking about how he kind of strung it together, basically, right? He said, you know, Sepultura is about to do this 40th anniversary tour, and Eloy Casagrande has been the drummer for a long time. And right as they're about to go on the tour, he announced he was quitting the band to join a new project. Now, if you're the established drummer of a band that's been doing that long, and then you just suddenly quit for another project, that's got to be a pretty big project. And there's arguably not many people in metal bigger than Slipknot in 2024. So anyway, that's still yet to be confirmed, but that's the rumor if you haven't heard it. Eloy Casagrande going to Slipknot. So on that note, former Slipknot drummer Jay Weinberg is now playing with Suicidal Tendencies and Infectious Grooves. Former Slipknot drummer Jay Weinberg officially joined Suicidal Tendencies. Earlier today, the 33-year-old Nashville-based musician wrote on social media, "When I think of the culture and community of heavy music I've loved and considered my creative home for 20 years, I think of Suicidal Tendencies as a foundational pillar and source of inspiration ever since I fell in love with punk, metal, and hardcore." Absolutely would not disagree with that. "It's an absolute honor and privilege to play with Suicidal Tendencies, and I can't wait to start this incredibly exciting new chapter in just 1 week. See you all in the pit." Weinberg will make his live debut with Suicidal Tendencies with a 2-date Japanese run of shows, March 14th in Osaka and March 15th in Chiba. The band is also slated to perform at the No Values Festival on June 8th in Pomona, California, with a series of European festival dates for June and July. In addition, Weinberg and Muir, Suicidal Tendencies' current line, and so this is what's great, the lineup, in addition to Weinberg and Muir, Suicidal Tendencies' current lineup features lead guitarist Dean Pleasance, who's from Infectious Grooves and has played on quite a few Suicidal records, rhythm guitar Ben Weinman from the Dillinger Escape Plan, and bassist Ty Trujillo, who's Robert Trujillo's son. So that's a great lineup, and I'm looking forward to seeing Suicidal with a new drummer. So I thought this was interesting too. Black Sabbath's Paranoid just surpassed 1 billion streams on Spotify, which kind of expected. It's Black Sabbath, but Black Sabbath has joined Spotify's Billions Club with the band's classic song Paranoid. Billions Club is a playlist first launched in 2020, which includes all the songs on Spotify that have surpassed 1 billion streams on the platform. After the achievement, Spotify gifts artists with the Billions Club plaque. Paranoid joins other tracks, including Metallica's Nothing Else Matters, Aerosmith's Dream On, Survivor's Eye of the Tiger, ABBA's Dancing Queen, Papa Roach's Last Resort. Wow. Good on you, Papa Roach. Guns N' Roses' Paradise City, Evanescence, Bring Me to Life, and Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody. To reach the achievement, the milestone has reportedly been achieved by 500 songs so far. So cheers to the OGs of metal, Black Sabbath, for that. Let's switch it up a little bit. we'll talk about this in just a minute. I'm going to go to some clips here. So if you pay attention to this channel, we talk a lot about Pantera and Metallica. And this is a little clip of Rex talking about the time, about when Pantera met Metallica back in the day. And if you haven't seen it, it's worth a look.
And Dom were listening to freaking Kill 'Em All, the first Metallica record. Had met James and Lars. They'd been down, stayed down at the house for about 2 weeks. We just jammed nonstop. Really cool. And meeting those cats were just a totally different world for us. That was such a great experience, you know? So we needed somebody like that in the band. Because Terry had decided he wanted to go to college. He didn't think that it was worth his time to spend and dedicate that as part of it, even as successful as we were starting to get. Pretty much the hottest little band in Texas.
That's interesting to me, considering when Pantera kind of rose to prominence in the early 90s, there was a lot of what seemed like bad blood between them and Metallica. Phil would talk a lot of shit because it was the era when Metallica, quote unquote, sold out and like went kind of mainstream. And Pantera was the band that waved that flag of true metal. So I didn't know that they were, had this history until recently. And I just thought it was very interesting. So moving on, we got a lot of stuff for y'all today. This is another Pantera clip from back in the day when Vinny and Phil were still getting along. And we've got the anniversary, I think it's the 28th anniversary coming up of Far Beyond Driven. It came out on March 22nd. So, today's the 11th. So 11 more days and it will be the anniversary of Far Beyond Driven. But this is a clip from the release party of when the album came out. So check this out.
And seriously, what is all this stuff they're saying about the Texas women?
Bunch, man.
You're supposed to sugarcoat it. Now tell us, so far we've been spending the whole day with you guys, going to the stadium, going down to the basement, going to your barbecue, and now we got the in-store. I mean, you got to get kind of excited. The record's coming out. You got to be kind of excited. The record's coming out.
I'm sorry. No, the record's coming out.
Put your soda down for a second. Your soda down.
This is my date. Listen. The record is good.
You know what? Take some words, make some sentences, put them together, make a point. Come on, Phil.
Shut up.
You can do it.
Phil's so drunk.
Philip.
Listen. We got many cities to visit on this in-store thing, and you know what? If my good friends don't come out and bring me that beautiful green thing, I tell you what, I'm going to be a little bit pissed off.
You like doing the in-stores, don't you? The in-stores are fun, I tell you.
Phil basically on Headbangers Ball asking for people to bring him marijuana.
Tell you what,
Free merchandise!
I've been itching. This record's been done since January. All of us been itching to get it out. Today is March 22nd. It's out. Thank God it's out finally. Pantera record is out. Go out and buy it now. We're at the basement in Dallas, Texas.
That is Pantera at their peak, I would argue. Post Vulgar Display of Power, around the time of Far Beyond Driven. So speaking of Pantera, let's talk about Zakk Wylde. We've had a lot of robust discussion in the comments about the reformed Pantera. And obviously there are a lot of people that support it, but there are a lot of people that don't support it. And I think, whatever your take is, there's a couple things that you just have to think about. First of all, if Vinny and Dime were alive now, they would have squashed the beef and be playing with Pantera. But second of all, if they're going to do this as Pantera and play the Pantera set list, there is no better substitute than Zach and Charlie. And when I say the word substitute, people in the comments get all upset, like there's no substitute for Dime. And it's like, I'm not saying replacement. I'm saying substitute. There is no replacement for Dime, of course. And Zach has made that clear. He compared Dime to Jimi Hendrix. He basically said, back in the day, Clapton toured with Jimi Hendrix's band and did Hendrix songs, and there's no way in hell they would have ever recorded a record as the Jimi Hendrix Experience with Eric Clapton playing. That's the analogy he used to describe him recording music as Pantera. So, I mean, that alone shows you the reverence that the man has for the legacy of the brothers. That said, I want to show you this roast of Zach Wild. So for all the Zach haters out there, here you go. Here's some red meat for the Zach haters in the comments. Courtesy of Stone Cold.
Warm, fuzzy bullshit stories about what a great son-of-a-bitch Zach is. Oh, he's a musical genius. He writes some great lyrics. He plays a mean fiddle, as he always says. Oh, bullshit. And, you know, I start delving a little deeper into it and reading some of your lyrics that you wrote, and who the fuck wrote this bullshit? This is from Mama, I'm Coming Home. I understand it. You know, Zach was a big part in writing this song, as was Ozzy and as was Lemmy. You know, I can't believe Lemmy would touch this motherfucker with a 15-foot pole.
Whoa, shots fired at Lemmy. Also, that is interesting. I had no idea that Lemmy had a writing credit on Mama, I'm Coming Home. That is very, very interesting.
Times have changed and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't the same. Mama, I'm coming home. You took me in and you drove me out. Yeah, you had me hypnotized, lost and found, and turned around by the fire in your eyes. Well, I'm fucking damn near about to start crying over this shit, right? It's fucking emotional. I could be right, I could be wrong. Hurts so bad, it's been so long. Mama, I'm coming home. What the fuck is this? I mean, have you seen his tour bus? It's a $2 million tour bus. Granite counters, granite floors, cherry cabinets, all the bullshit. Well, guess what, Zach? There's a fucking shower on that bus, too. When you get in that goddamn shower, hit the bar of soap. Put a little water on it and rub it all underneath your armpits, around your balls, and your fucking asshole, would you, you smelly prick? Here's a tube of toothpaste. What you do is you pour some of this out on a little toothbrush and you scrub them fucking gimmicks in your mouth. They're called teeth. Get all that yellow shit off of them. Your breath don't smell like a motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? Deodorant. It's a miracle worker. You put it under your fucking armpits. You get me? You fucking Viking? Last but not least, your old trusty hairbrush. This thing does a goddamn wonders if you got the fucking hair. I ain't got no fucking hair. Comb that fucking shit you call a wig. You understand me? God damn, I'd like to sit here and just keep shooting the shit with the camera guy and the sound guy, but truth is, I gotta go take a big hairy dump. Fuck you, Viking, and... Hi, Barbara Ann. Love you.
The best part of that, for my money, was when he walked by real quick and flipped the camera off. That's just a brilliant edit. So continuing on our theme of Metallica, Pantera, this is another this is a clip about Robert Trujillo, and you know, this kind of pairs with what we were talking about earlier with Cliff during the Master of Puppets era, wanting to go get Mexican food. But here they ask Trujillo what he was doing while Metallica was recording Master of Puppets, and this is also very interesting.
1985, that summer of Live Aid, what were you doing?
I was selling long-distance phone service, going door to door. Yeah.
Ding dong. Would you like to?
Exactly. At that time, where we were at in our age, Master of Puppets came out. That was sort of, you know, this grand next step, and a really heavy inspirational, you know, body of work for rock and roll.
So I want to stop right there for just a second, because people can hate on Metallica all they want, but Robert Trujillo right here not the original bassist of Suicidal Tendencies, but almost the original bassist, like there for arguably most of their best records, was selling long distance phone service when the album Master of Puppets came out. So that tells you right there how much goddamn influence this band has had on metal as a whole. Robert Trujillo wasn't even in Suicidal Tendencies yet when they dropped Master of Puppets. So all the best suicidal stuff, How Will I Laugh Tomorrow When I Came to Smile Today, and, Lights, Camera, Revolution came after Master of Puppets. So, I mean, there you go.
I think back to that summer when we were writing, the one thing that stands out is the couch and the TV. The guitars were laying around.
The Carlson Metallo Mansion was really had an open door policy for, if you liked metal, come on in,
Open door, as in the door was always open.
Always open.
Day and night.
Yeah. The one thing I do remember is being out there and doing the riff to Master of Puppets, and us trying to get Master of Puppets together.
I remember you leading me over to the little Fostex machine, and you said, listen to this. It's a riff, triple tracked on Mesa Boogie, super heavy, and it was the Master of Puppets riff, the main.
For the record too, I love the auto captions, because it didn't say Mesa Boogie, it said Mess of Boogie, which arguably would be a great name for a band. But just I love catching those little errors in the captions.
Riff.
So Metallica was the spark for bands like this. And this is Nile. If you've never listened to Nile, they're one of my favorite death metal bands, not simply for the speed and technicality of what they're doing, but they kind of infuse this like Middle Eastern, Egyptian kind of element to their music. And they just completed their 10th record. So South Carolina's Egyptian-themed death metal titans, Nile, have completed mixing their new album at a Nashville studio with producer Mark Lewis, who had previously worked with Megadeth, Whitechapel, Devil Driver, and Bad Wolves, among many others. Earlier today, Nile shared a short video of founder Carl Sanders and Lewis as they were putting the finishing touches on the band's 10th LP. The clip was accompanied by the following caption: "We are done mixing the new Nile album. This album sounds killer. We have put our hearts and souls into this record, and we believe that the amount of time, effort, and detail that went into it shows through the music." So keep an eye out for Nile. I think the next time we do a stream, I would like to talk about some of the albums that came out this year that you should be checking out. There's a lot of great stuff. Just off the top of my head, Job for a Cowboy and the Requiem's new record. A lot of good stuff already out. We're just near the end of the first quarter of 2024, and there's already a lot of great metal to talk about. So if you were around today, thank you for checking us out. And as usual, I have to mention, hit that like and subscribe button. We are continuing to grow. Very happy to talk to y'all in the comments. I mean, please hit us up. I love to argue. So say something trolly and I will respond. And honestly, we get a lot of great feedback in our comments. A lot of really intelligent, kind of talk back, and people have taught me stuff in the comments. So, I'm definitely not claiming to be some all-knowing expert or anything. I have a lot to learn, but definitely appreciate the interaction and appreciate y'all out there. And thanks for tuning in, and take care of yourself. We'll see you next time. Keep brutal.